Welcome to the Executive Insight Podcast, where we spotlight leaders who are changing how business owners think about finance, growth, and success. I'm your host, Alan Broomfield, and today, joined by Josh Greenbaum, founder of CFO Minded, trusted advisor to entrepreneurs, and author of Numbers Scare Me. Josh, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Great, Josh. So, can you share a bit about your journey from Big Four accounting to founding CFO Minded? What inspired your focus on making finance accessible for business owners?
I am your classic reluctant entrepreneur who stumbled upon it through stubbornness, I would say. I really am grateful for my time at the Big Four and what that taught me, and foundationally what that set up in terms of professionalism, and I think it's a wonderful place to start your career. Though I did not see a career path that was exciting for me. And with a couple short hops around after that at other firms and other companies, I found my way through a project into consulting. And the project was to build a financial model. And for as goofy as it sounds to probably many people within my world, and for me, taking something that is so highly technical and structured, be it accounting and finance, diving into a financial model was like putting a puzzle together. And there was kind of no right answer, no wrong answer. And you got to go on this journey and really dive in with the founder and creative. And I loved that experience and that relationship with the client. And I continued to follow it. And it's been a journey.
So, are we talking about Dexstar right here?
No, this is before Dexstar. I had an opportunity to work with Will I Am from the Black Eyed Peas, and the project started, I believe, in 2006. So it was still quote unquote early tech days. I always remember in retrospect, YouTube was literally a startup company at that point. And so what it was doing was blending technology and entertainment, which sounds so antiquated at this point, but in that moment, LA was still developing its tech scene. I had started my career in Silicon Valley. I had transitioned to Los Angeles and got entertainment accounting experience. And through this project, through this introduction to Will, it was a really great opportunity for me to start to blend both worlds. That was the start of that. Dexstar was really my starting point with consulting on my own. And they are a DJ management company. And again, it was a really fun place for me to be amongst creatives and still be able to apply accounting in that background that I have.
Yeah. So, you talk about defining success on your own terms. What does that look like for business owners that you work with?
It literally means something different to each. And I think that that's the exact point. We went through such a period of hustle culture and scaling, and I'm going to sell my business and rah, rah, rah. And what I find the most important for myself as a business owner and as I engage with others is for them to get really clear on what their specific plan is. And that could mean a bunch of things because we all have different priorities in life. That could look like I want to put an operations person in place because I want to reduce my time because I want to start a family. And therefore, let's dive into modeling that out, ensuring we're budgeting for that, thinking about the operational structure, and make sure that's kicking off enough income and allowing you to back off. So contrasting that, I got to build, I got to grind, I got to grow into maybe a lifestyle business makes sense. And so to each of the business owners and entrepreneurs who I work with, that's really where the conversation needs to start.
Right. And it could go several different ways, right? Like, yes, I want to create this asset to be able to spend more time, right? I want to get my time back. Or is it I'm planning on exiting, right? So there's specific strategies that need to be put into place at an early stage if you're planning on keeping it as an asset or if you're planning on selling that asset and moving on to the next stages. That's good. So, what's the biggest mindset shift you help your clients make when it comes to those types of financial strategies and leadership?
The two main things that come up the most are number one, I'll say literacy around finances. It can be very intimidating for people. And going back to the kind of original genesis that I want to bring that sophistication to small business owners. And I don't want them to be accountants. I don't want them to feel like they are behind the eight ball. Rather, I find it most important that they have a fundamental understanding of what financial statements are, what is it telling them, and really just in the most layman's terms of like, you're doing good, you're not doing good, right? And this is where we need to dial in. So, number one is that financial literacy. Number two, I often find discussing and diving into relationship with money, relationship with debt, understanding of debt, and debt as an alternative to investment. And again, looking at what are your goals? Because often people hear and think about bringing an investor to the table and they want maybe a lifestyle business. And those two things can't coexist because an investor has their own objectives. So to then bridge that conversation to debt and talk about what is that? What are the mechanics of it? What does it do to cash flow? And what are your objectives with it to make sure, like anything, we're getting return on that investment?
Right. That's brilliant. So let tell us about CFO Minded. Who do you serve and what makes your approach different from all other advisory CFOs?
I have always, from the beginning, kept the firm very boutique. And so it's been 17 years now that I've had my firm. And that hands on approach I find the most important. And the way that I deliver that is very frequent conversations. So, all the way down to I do flat rate billing because I want to be accessible. I don't want a client to ever feel like I sent a text to Josh or a call to Josh and now a tenth of an hour has been added to my billing, right? And having that approach allows me to always be a voice at the table and to hear them and to hear their concerns and for them to feel comfortable in pulling me into the conversation. So that's really the uniqueness that I bring when thinking as a differentiation from my peers. And also to your question, I work with clients all over the country. And I've been really fortunate to work with some really interesting, fascinating entrepreneurs that have really big visions. And it typically falls in the retail consumer product goods e-commerce bucket or the service provider type company. Those are the two main ones, but I've worked with tech companies, I've worked with music festivals, I've had a really interesting blend of industries.
So are these companies small, medium, large, or
All the way from
solopreneurs?
ideation to maybe a couple 100,000 in revenue on up to 30 million being my largest revenue level of a client. And each engagement looks different. And what's fun from my seat is within that entire range, everyone's kind of the same, you know? And that's what I find beautiful about founders and entrepreneurs is they're visionary, they want to keep driving and keep driving. And so whether you're that 200,000 figuring out how to get to 350 or 30 million getting to 50 million, it's a lot of the same conversation that happens.
Strategy, right?
Exactly.
So how do your concepts like rolling budgets and comprehensive financial management help achieve both growth and freedom for your clients?
So the rolling budget for me is the center of the conversation point where we always need to stand. And when I'm saying that, I'm speaking of that CFO perspective. So to differentiate that from your day-to-day bookkeeping and financial statement delivery. So the rolling budget for me allows us to focus on the upcoming few months where we will have built out a 3-year forecast. We will have had that annual budget in place. And the reason I focus on the rolling 3 months, meaning always the upcoming 3 months, is that it's just timely and relevant conversation. Do you want to make that investment? Do you want to hire that person? Do we need to let a person go? That very like real tactical, and we can play within the budget, within the rolling budget, and see what does the hire of this employee do to cash flow? What if we do it then, not now? And it becomes a lot of scenario planning. And those are the real tactical things that I feel help a business owner concretely think about the future and allow me to do what I do and bring that financial lens.
Right? So it's not just financial management, it's more like an operations standpoint, right? Like it,
Completely. Yeah. To add to that, like from a retail standpoint, you might be sourcing product from overseas. So here we are, make believe in September, October, and you're thinking about buying inventory for holidays, which is the biggest time for retail sales. And so to talk about what is cash flow, maybe we don't have the cash flow. How do we want to bridge that? Let's talk about product mix. Let's talk about pricing and margin and all those things, and gives us an opportunity to have that depth of conversation and utilize that historic data that we have to leverage that conversation and make better decisions.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Well, we have a lot of testimonials and proof in the pudding here, even from a 300% revenue growth for some successful exits. But what do you think your proudest moment has been so far within your 17 years of consulting, basically, not just with the CFO, but operations consulting?
Selfishly, my biggest, my proudest thing is my own longevity because I'm a business owner as well. And to be in this almost 2 decades, and for me to have created the life that I have and that I've wanted and desired for myself makes me really proud. And second, and equal to that, is that I've had clients that have been with me since day one. And to have that depth of relationship, great to be able to serve, and more so great to watch human beings grow and to develop that work and that trust and that relationship with people, and watch them through multiple companies. It may not just be one. So I that's what I really feel most proud of.
Yeah, I that hits with me. It really does because I feel that it's hard to be proud of yourself sometimes, but when you set those goals and you accomplish them and you're knocking them out, and then I too, I've have some clients that have been with me for the last 5 years, and I've watched their companies grow, and I've watched them grow as people as well, and it's just fascinating when you continue to work together like that and share those experience and share the growth. It is awesome. So, with that in mind, how do you balance working on your own business growth while serving clients at a high level?
It's been a journey. It's an interesting question that's timely for me because I feel like I'm on my second, I don't want to say pivot, but growth moment within that. Growth moment number one was, how do I take the firm from me as a solo entrepreneur to employee number one? And we'll make up numbers, but to say if I was making $150,000 and providing a nice life for myself, how do I stretch to, let's say, 250,000 so I can comfortably hire somebody, not burn myself out along the way, and not diminish my own salary so that I'm not suffering financially. So that was really hurdle number one. I'm now working through hurdle number two, which is equally interesting, but in a very different way. And number two is my team is continuing to expand now. And now it's actually dialing into the operational elements of it, getting into the marketing, thinking about how do I want to invest there? What are my growth goals? Thinking about technology and integration, and how do you take a prospect through a sales call, through an onboarding, through customer success, and thinking about those sort of non-financial aspects of my organization as I bridge from a purely finance team, accounting and bookkeeping and CFO, to now thinking about operational support and growth in that way. And that's the current moment of growth that I'm going through. That's been a good, interesting, challenge and learning opportunity for me.
Right. So, what has been your most effective channels or strategies for attracting new clients and growing your business?
It's always been the wonderful people I work with. I've
Yeah,
I've often gotten most of my clients through referrals, and that is also now expanding. I'm starting to lean into content a lot more and thinking about having a more traditional call to action and leaning into marketing in a way that I haven't in the past, so that I have some really nice predictable growth. But at the end of the day, serving people well tends to always bring more people.
right. So, what growth tactics have you tried that didn't work as expected? And what did you learn from those experiences?
About a year and a half ago, I decided to sponsor a television segment, and I got to go on the local news in Denver. And I did a series, I believe, maybe 5 or 6 segments, and went in it as the sponsored guest. And we did a back and forth for a few minutes, and it was great and like beautiful content and a great conversation. And I don't know that it converted to anything. That being said, though, one of the things, and I'm curious your response to this with a marketing brain, is that there's also a lot to be said. I feel like with marketing, and this also speaks to the book that I wrote, where you don't get a direct ROI, but you get this really indirect kind of branding opportunity and thing that goes out to the world where you can't pinpoint exactly what drove those that additional revenue. And so I think it's also important within a question like that to think about what is success and what is failure, and getting clear on what is that objective on the front end of any marketing activity.
Right. So if it didn't convert a sale, there you got the brand, and building a brand is one of the most effective things that you can do as, a business owner and entrepreneur. Um, like Walmart, right? Brand
Yeah.
name, right?
Yeah.
So it's building that brand is definitely going to get that long-term success for you. So what's one priority that you're focused on right now when you think, or what do you think will be the biggest difference in your business this year?
To me, it's that operational efficiency to pull myself out of the though I can do it, I should not be the one doing it anymore, and to really start to hone in on my team owning client relationships more, to think about, like I was saying, an onboarding process that isn't okay, let's get on Zoom and we can get the bank logins, et cetera, and the access points that we need. And so to really formalize a lot more, because I see some really healthy, great growth ahead over the next 2 years, and have some ambitious revenue goals for myself. And that is really the only way that I'm going to get there. Otherwise, I'm buried.
Right. Client management. Okay, great, man. That was brilliant. So for business owners listening, what's one piece of advice you wish more people took to heart about building a sustainable business and financial management?
The one thing I always say is just start asking questions. Don't feel like you have to engage with people. Don't apologize for asking for free advice. Take someone out to coffee, email me, just ask questions, and get that conversation going on any area that you're uncomfortable with, be it finance, accounting, operations, curiosity about a chief of staff, marketing tactics, what is AI. We all know resources or see them via LinkedIn or whatever it may be, and just reach out to people.
Yep, get out there and learn. There's so many people that are willing to help, want to see you win as well. Totally agree. Well, Josh, thanks for sharing your story and insights. For more conversations with leaders in advisory and finance, be sure to subscribe to the Executive Insight podcast. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.